I call this meeting of the Lake Country Classical Academy to order at 8:32 on June 16th. In accordance with Wisconsin Open Meetings Law, required public notice of this meeting ran Friday, June 12th in the Waukesha Freeman. It was posted on the LCCA website and on the front entry doors at both school campuses. The LCCA mission is to train the minds and improve the hearts of young people through a content-rich classical education in the liberal arts and sciences with instruction in the principles of moral character and civic virtue. So please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think it's all you now.
Okay, anyone interrupt? Excellent. Good morning, everyone. And so you've got the name tags filled out. Thank you. That'll help us. We'll memorize names quickly too. Some of you I met online doing the one-on-one. So Randy, I appreciate your time online with that and going through that. Today we want you to focus on your strengths, using your strengths as you give input and all of that. We're going to walk you through a process today to again, walk away by the end of tomorrow for sure, if not even a little bit quicker than that, with a 6-year, 3-year, 1-year, 90-day plan. And again, we'll talk more in depth with that, but just want to give you that premise. Dan, if you want to put up on the screen the agenda, that would be great. And then you also have in front of you, you do have your strengths packet, so you can keep that. Page 3 in that report is the grid, the color-coded grid. If the colors bother you, if you can't see through it, or you're colorblind or anything like that, turn to page 4. You do have without the color squares. The color squares are nice to take a look at things at a quick glance. Who's got traction? That's green. They're good at getting things started. Who has driving? The red. They're good finishers. The yellow are the problem identification people. Great. So again, the colors do pop again, unless you're like my son or one of our former partners who was colorblind. That didn't do much good. But again, you have that there in front of you. We'll go deeper into that in a little bit, but I'll always try to point out strengths when you're talking from your strengths, when you're working from your strengths. Because again, when you work from your strengths, less energy, greater results. And I know Tiffany went through that with you in the team presentation and different things, so I won't labor that too much, but do want you to have that in front of you. And excuse my voice, I'm coming off, I'm fine, but a couple of weeks of a cough, thanks to my wife who works at our charter school. So I'm a co-founder of a charter school in St. Paul. She works there. Always end of the year, Christmas time, end of the year, she's got some kind of cold illness and comes home and shares it with everyone she possibly can. Even last time she shared it with Dan and his family. That, full disclosure, he's my brother-in-law, so she shared it with all them to the point where Dan was coughing and broke a rib. The last time, not this time, but the last time. So. We will not do that to you. But again, so just part of my voice has just been a while coming back. I've presented all last week and everything too, so I just haven't had a chance to let it recover. But again, honored and privileged to be here with you today. We're going to go around the room and just do a leadership roundtable. So leadership roundtable is just getting to know you all. And then what I want you to share is basically, why you're on the board, why your role, your position, what you do, how you got here. Maybe one interesting fact of something that no one else knows in the room of you. So, and then I'll model this in just a second. And then two, if you can tie in your number one strength or one of your strengths to again, say, how do you use that? How does that fit you? How do you utilize that either on the board, personally, whatever it might be? And then the very last thing is just your hoped for, desired expectation outcome from our meeting. So again, basically going around the room, your role, how you got here, who you are, just a little bit, maybe an interesting fact that no one else knows. All right. How you maybe use that number one strength, like Georgia with Woo, bless you, by the way.
Thank you.
So that number one strength of Woo, how you maybe use that or use it on the board or personally. And then what's your hope for expectation? What's a desired outcome from what we're doing? Does that make sense, everyone? All right. So I'll model that. I'll turn it over to Dan to do that too. And then as you can see up here on the agenda, we'll get into challenges and opportunities, and we'll introduce each section and then go through that as we go forward. But so again, Scott Goschak, so my number one strength is relator. So again, relator is all about very deep, close-knit relationships with smaller groups. So I use that to connect with people. Always have. One-on-one is always more comfortable for me, with a relator. You have a couple close friends. The exact opposite of relator, of course, is Georgia Wu, who a relator walks into a room with 200, prays they know 2 or 3 people, sits at a back table with those 2 or 3, goes deep. Georgia walks in a room with 200, shaking the hands, kissing the babies, networking in that room, just getting to know everyone. And I say that very, very positively. She's a great partner-up opportunity for me. Because again, when I was principal, what's the stereotypical view of a principal? Right? Out in front of the school, every morning, every afternoon, meeting, greeting everyone, shaking hands, saying hi. I did it. I love my students. I love my families, all those things, but it exhausted me. So once I found my Woo teachers and staff, when I got into strengths, I put them out in front of the school. They're running up and down the street, slapping kids, high fives, having a great time, and then they come back to me and say, these 2 families really need to talk to you. And I'm like, I can talk to 2. But there were 300 to get to those 2. That was the exhausting part. So again, it's that idea of partnering up, using our strengths to the fullest. Does that make sense, Georgia?
It does.
And it really does work. It's amazing when people are working from the strengths, just how much easier and how natural it comes that way. So, and my background, as you just heard a little bit, I'm a former teacher, principal, always inner city urban. So I grew up here in Milwaukee on 32nd and Silver Spring. So if you know the north side of Milwaukee at all, that's where I grew up. My interesting factoid would be, and I'll get a little more to the education background, my interesting factor would be I thought McDonald's was going to be my career. I was the youngest salary manager at McDonald's history at the time. Turned 18, became a salary manager of a corporation. And they would transfer me from struggling, sort of, go in, get it lifted up to the point where it can be managed, and then they transfer me to the next one. Well, they saw some strengths in me that I didn't even realize were strengths. So again, was Emily here? Okay. So Emily has learner achiever. Again, or achiever learner, 1 and 2. Learner achiever, either order, doesn't matter. Cami, where is Cami? Is Cami here?
She's not here today.
Okay, that's the assistant principal?
Yes.
Okay. All right, she also has learner achiever, so does Lori, right there. Learner achiever. Who else is my learner achievers? I think that's, there it is, John with learner achiever. John Wu, right? Okay. So learner achiever. Learner achiever is a combination, if you remember. Does anyone remember what that is? Learner achiever, you have what is called the VUCA. The VUCA strength. And Margaret, do you have it too? Yeah, learner achiever. So the VUCA strength, which means that you can handle volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous situations. You make sense out of it, you get it to the point where it can be managed, and then you want that next challenge. So learner achievers never want to be a cog in the machine, spoke in the wheel. 3 to 5 years into a position, they're ready for a new change. They're ready for a new opportunity. They're ready for it. And it can be in the same organization, or they're looking elsewhere if it's not. So again, McDonald's recognizing me, I had that learner achiever. They would transfer me struggling, go and get it lifted up, then on to the next one. And so again, those of you that know Milwaukee at all, I was there when they shut down the McDonald's in Northridge Mall. We did that at 3 in the morning under the cover of dark because we broke our lease. I don't know that it was legal. I was 18. I just didn't question. I just did what we did. But I had a truck there, no lights on. Semi took out all the equipment. And the next morning, Northridge Mall did not have a McDonald's. And went from there and ended my McDonald's career in Milwaukee at 27th and Capitol. So if you know 27th and Capitol at all in Milwaukee, worked there for 6 months. I can tell you stories for about 2 years about my 6 months there. But it was an amazing experience. And then I was led into education after that. And then, like I said, always inner city urban, because those are very VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous situations. So Milwaukee, Atlanta, Minneapolis. Then I went back to Atlanta, taught at a university there for a couple of years. And then back to Minneapolis doing this leadership development training, strategic planning, executive coaching, etc. And again, so I was either inner city urban, very VUCA, or startups. That's been my background. So again, very volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. This is my strength. I still have my hand in education, so I'm co-founder of a charter school in St. Paul, Minnesota. So we just finished our 6th year of operation there, the Journey School. It's a kindergarten through 8th grade school. It's 100% free and reduced lunch. It's a strengths-based school. It is an incredibly diverse population. We take strengths down through age 9 there. So there's a strengths explorer that goes down through age 9. So we try to focus in on what students are gifted at and try to strengthen that, along with teaching them all of the other important pieces, of course, with it. So you'll hear more about me, possibly my family and things as we go along. don't hesitate. I'm super casual about it, so just jump in. As we get to know each other and do this, jump in, ask questions, push, prod, challenge. You're not going to offend us. These days are for you all. This is going to be your plan. We're going to guide process. We're going to guide all of those different things. And certainly, with my background in education and those different things, I can give advice. I've worked with a little over 300 schools over the last 10 years through this process in one way, shape, form, or another, from private schools to public to charter, etc. So again, there are commonalities. There are, it's not just completely unique. Schools are schools. They run in certain ways. So again, there are certain things that I may recommend or have in there, but it's your plan. You don't have to listen to anything I say. It is your plan, other than the process. So, questions for me or comments?
What school climb are you most proud of and what happened?
Oh man, there's so many. Going backwards to we do a lot of work with a lot of different school systems. I don't know if you're familiar with Open Sky education. So Eagle Schools, they started the Hope Schools and things like that here in Milwaukee. That was one where worked from the ground floor starting 15 years ago in many different ways and capacities. And maybe why I'm very proud of that one is because they went away from us for a little while, and then they came back. And so that was great. That was great. Because they saw the value in the process and what was happening. When they went away for about 6 years, they're like, no, we got to get back to this. And so again, it wasn't so much a turnaround other than startup. And a lot of the schools with which I worked are very young schools, just like this one being 4 years, basically finish your fourth year, right?
Yes.
So finishing the fourth year, very still young school with that. So a lot of steps I had to do. And then I would say the Journey School, our charter school. That took 12 years to start, by the way. So again, the laws in Minnesota with the charter schools, it's very, very difficult to start a charter school. You have to have an authorizer. You have to have all these things. There's only 151 charter schools in Minnesota, even though it was the first state to ever have charter schools. We have a governor that is not friendly to charter schools. As a matter of fact, his platform when he ran was to close all the charter schools. So again, very unfriendly environment that way. So a lot of hurdles there. The fact that we've gone now 6 years and we're very solvent. We've got 140 students, really great students, opportunity for growth and development. But that's probably the most one. But again, I kind of own that one too. So there you go. Great question. Other questions or thoughts from me? All right, Dan, and then we'll start with Georgia and work our way around the room. So go ahead.
Yeah, so Dan Wigan, most likely a lot of you had a one-on-one with Tiffany, that's my wife. And so we started Partner to Learn with Scott with the idea of really helping organizations, be it schools or just industry-wide, to go and help them through strategic planning, going and building teams, going and working through communication, and especially starting through COVID, which I wouldn't recommend going and starting through the pandemic. But it ended up going to be very good for us because it provided a mechanism for them to go and work through communication in a way that they didn't have to go and work through before. And people are hungry to go and get together. So it's awesome to go and get together today with you all. Really excited that way. My background is financial services. I was at Baird for 14 years, went through a multitude of different roles. Finally also in the public finance group, so working with charter schools and organizations to go and work through financing. Underwriter in the state of Wisconsin. So yeah, it's my background and that piece has really been part of the reason that I want to do what we're doing. And I see a lot of achievers here that you'll talk to, so I'll go and say my second one is ideation and futuristic, and that's why I'm going to doing the software development in our company. So that's where I like to go and look out, be it months, years, and figure out where we're going ahead of them. Is my background. So, Scott and I will be tag teaming a lot today. Part of it is me to go and scribe, so it's impossible for one person to go and do scribing and to go and facilitate everything. So it'll be a little bit of back and forth. That's the process of it. So, Georgia?
I'm Georgia Maxwell. My background is I have spent 34 years working in and around politics. So I have been in the state senate, the state assembly, lobbying, government affairs, the administration. I have the honor of serving in Governor Walker's cabinet all 8 years that he was there, and I'm still in state service, and I am a commissioner for the Labor and Industry Review Commission. So I do second level appeals for unemployment insurance, equal rights, and workers' comp. Really exciting things. So it's very boutique-y. A lot of people don't even know that our agency exists or what we do, but for the people that we serve, it's a lifeline for them. So that's what I do. What was it? What were the questions?
Okay,
Something
interesting factoid that no one knows maybe, and then your hope for expectation.
For the
meetings, yeah.
strategic planning, yeah, okay, so
Today
you may not know, but I am the daughter of immigrants. My parents immigrated to this country. So I am English as a second language. I didn't speak English until I went to kindergarten. Some still make fun of me that I can't speak English now, but I can swear very well in multiple languages. And I was the first in the entire generation to pursue a career, to go to college, graduate from college, get a career, like do those kind of things. So if you saw the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that is truly my life because my husband is not Greek. The first non-Greek I ever dated is the one I ended up marrying. We've been married 30 years and have 3 kids. So you may not know that. It's an interesting fact. My plan for today, aside from staying cool and not overheating without the air conditioning, is to really try and bring some focus to the next level. I know I'm new to the board, as a couple members are, and I know that I'm not involved in the past history, so I don't know about the past history, other than there have been some unique challenges and probably some not so unique challenges, which I would expect with any brand new institution or startup like this. And we just had the first inaugural graduation, which was fantastic, and hearing those kids speak was pretty touching to my core, which is hard to do. So I was very energized by that and being here at this table and kind of figuring out what's next. So like as we turn the page, what is next and how are we gonna strategically go about that? Utilizing obviously our leadership, our strengths, and I love this partner up thing. You saw the light bulb above my head, that's kind of neat. So this is a great place, it's got a great team, and I look forward to being part of the next chapter.
Awesome. Any key expectation, I guess, from today and tomorrow?
I expect you to succeed.
All right, no pressure there. Good. All right. John, please.
Georgia's not very straightforward. Other than that. John Wu. Let's see. Background, investor, creator. I spent career 2 phases, one financial services, one entrepreneurial things, and kind of the same thing. Come back to it. And I have a hedge fund that I started 4 years ago. So I have 6 kids, 3 of which have been in LCCA. Let's see, what was that in the next one? Mm-hmm. And, yes, yeah, that's right. I lose track. And so we're here from the beginning. Let's see, my wife and I, we had the privilege of going to probably some of the best schools in the world ever, and then subsequently seen them deteriorate, not in necessarily the headline of their academic rigor, but more in their moral and value set for whatever. And so we've been on the hunt for a long time to figure out what is supposed to be the education for them in the future. We were on a path to just educate them around the world, go around with different countries every few months, and then we found this thing when I was at school that it started. It was a community of like-minded parents that launched right after COVID, a unique time. I guess this one a unique time in our country's history. And I think that serves as a lot of the inspiration for why being on board. In thinking on landscape, in which most of education is going to down the toilet or has already done so, we have the potential to be really great here. I would like to see that. Oh yeah, I forgot the interesting fact. Well, George, since you went there, yeah, actually English is also my second language. I give my daughters roses. I trade gold a lot of times. I cannot string together rose and gold quickly. It's just like it's a remnant of not speaking English first.
Sure.
And it is hilarious when I try. I won't do that.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's see, is there anything else? That's part of the expectations. I don't know. I'm always cautious of these type of like things. These like advisory session type of things. But I hope I hope we can come out of it with a sense of like strategic direction for what is the future of this place and what how we're going to get there. I think I've always agreed, even from being a parent. I've always appreciated the kind of our headline mission, but I think we need something a bit more tangible and have tangible goals and objectives and goals that go along with it. And I hope to see that happen.
Thank you. Ellen, please.
Yes, Ellen Nowak. I currently am Vice President at American Transmission Company, ATC. So we build and operate the high voltage transmission lines that are around Wisconsin and a little bit of Michigan and Minnesota. I've been there almost 2 years. That follows 11 years of being on the Public Service Commission. So Georgia and I got to know each other through our different political backgrounds as well. I also served as Secretary of Administration for Governor Walker. Prior to that, I practiced law, but then I got interested in education when I was Chief of Staff to the Assembly Speaker 20-some years ago. But when school choice was, it was then Governor Doyle, and we were trying to get more kids have the ability to get into the school choice program, and got very interested in, the outcomes for that, and have the ability to see a lot of the schools in Milwaukee. After that, and I ended my work in the legislature, I went to work for school choice for a couple of years and was deputy director for a couple of years before then I got back into politics and going back into government service. So that's my professional background. For outcomes, I would say I hope there is some alignment on what the 1, 2, or 3 goals are that we want to do here, and then some actionable items for each of those would be, I think, helpful.
Interesting, guys.
And boring. The one I've used of late is I had the unique opportunity to interview with the president in the Oval Office for a position. I did not get it, but it was a very unique and surreal moment in my life when I was led into the Oval and had a meeting with the president, and that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Recent.
2019. Yeah. So it was under the Trump one. Yeah. It was for the FERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
So cool.
Yes. It was kind of cool.
You have to rest all you.
And I have 2 dogs. Yeah, they're I have no kids, so my dogs are you'll hear them, and if anyone wants to see pictures in a break, I have a hound mix and a rescue beagle. When I am stressed, I go to the beagle rescue pages and just stalk out beagles. That's what I do for stress relief. This is probably healthier than a lot of
It
other
probably
people's.
is. Actually.
So, yeah.
So have you been to Augusta though with your?
I have, yes, yeah, I did. That was also an amazing opportunity 2 years ago. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
When I was in Atlanta, I got here.
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it was, I hope I can go back, but it was, got to spend the weekend there for the final round and on round one, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I think practice rounds.
Yeah, that's cool.
How about yesterday? But
Yeah, I know.
Was
Yesterday
that
was
not nuts?
Yeah. Well, but that 64-foot putt, holy cow.
Yeah. And did you
Absolutely.
see that, okay, just as a quick sidebar, he, got up, his like 4-year-old was really
Yeah.
sick in the middle of the night and he had to go to CVS. So he got up at like 3 a.m, had to go to CVS, took care of the sick kid,
Oh,
and then played that round yesterday in the rain.
That's the dad life.
That's
Yeah.
on Father's Day.
yeah.
That's
That's
awesome. So,
Yeah.
All right, Skylar.
I'm Skylar File. I got connected to LCCA. My wife and I both attended Hillsdale College, which is where the curriculum and the concept of the Barney Charter School Initiative came from to promote classical education nationally. So a number of friends have children here or are on faculty. And so they said, hey, they're looking for someone to join the board. Children don't go here, so my wife and I have 5 kids. So I joke that my part-time job is commercial insurance brokerage, and my full-time job is traveling around activities. It's kind of pretty crazy. Ages 5 to 12, and I'm a recovering attorney. Practiced law for a couple years, but it's been 8 years since I did that. Fun fact, my wife and I sat next to each other in every class our 1L year of law school. We're married, and I don't like awkward silences. Got better at that now, but that was a struggle. So I would always raise my hand when no one would answer the questions in class. Professors had fun with that and would call on me, and I usually get it wrong. And then they'd say, Mrs. Fine, would you like to correct your husband?
And of course.
And
Yeah.
she always knew the answer, so I don't know why she didn't raise her hand to begin with.
You've got that woo communications, so you're up front speaker type person, so that's great.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun in law school together, actually, believe it or not. We were both extremely competitive, both type A, and all through law school, we were neck and neck in our ranking toward the top of the class. And then during our 3L year, we had our youngest daughter. And my wife decided that she was really going to try that, and she blew me out of the water that year. So I did not be my wife when it came to GPA.
So she gave birth and beat you.
And then she got like a 4.0 bowl semester. I was like, what were you just fooling around the first 2 years of law school?
So
It just
your,
kills that.
your
competition
youngest
spirit.
was born
Yeah,
her
our
3rd year?
Our third
So
year.
she had 5 kids in law school?
Our oldest.
Oldest, oh, sorry.
I might have said
Amazing. Okay, but you meant, yeah.
Key outcome or thought from you?
My key outcome, I think, is like John. I think, the idea of the classical charter school model and what we recite at the beginning of our meetings and what we believe that the is organization is really important. But I think I would like to see more tangible point that we can rally around. It's just a brainstorming idea, but like to be the preeminent charter school in Wisconsin, something along those lines where families come here because this place is the best place to send your kids when it comes to charter school, public school, etc. I think starting to be the preeminent charter school would be really cool. But I don't know that that's it. It's just my selfish desire.
Well, you'll see that coming up in a little bit, so, good, excellent. Emily?
Okay, my background is as a speech and language pathologist. I did that for 10 years, and I think when you talked about that achiever learner pairing, fits me well. I worked in public schools, medical setting, started my own private practice. I hunted down Christina Morax when she was starting the school and told her she needs a speech pathologist, so she needs to hire me. Started as a speech pathologist here for the first year, and then stepped into the role of Director of Special Education Services. I have 2 kids that go here. One's going to be in 4th, and the other one is 2nd. And then kind of echoing what Ellen said, kind of having that traction and getting something going. I think it's a newer group of people, and kind of as a collective unit, we see the school growing. And I hate fun facts, so.
That's your fault.
That's how you get out.
Seems like a cop-out, but,
It is, but that's all right, we'll take it. Margaret, you're up next.
I'm Margaret Hagedorn, and I'm the principal, and my background has been in education. Started as an elementary school teacher in first grade in an inner city charter school, then spent some time at an independent private school, and then was back at an inner city choice school. But I have always had a passion for classical education, and when at the start of this venture, I also tracked Christina Borax and her progress. I am a proponent of Hillsdale's perspective and their mission to populate the nation with this type of school. So I was interested in this endeavor and was happy to come on board once it got off the ground. And then shortly into the first year, found myself taking on the leadership role. I think my number one strength as a achiever was an asset to me in that, because I refused to let LCCA go under in that first year. There was no way we were going to be successful, and I think that strength loaned itself well to that. And what's a fun fact about me? I am recently married for the first time, and I'm learning all that entails, and also have become a stepmother of 5. Along with that, and learning all of that entails, and it makes for an exciting life.
Love it. And so do you find with your relator and your role as, in official title, is it principal director? What is it again, official title?
It's
Supreme leader.
It's currently principal.
Okay. So do you find, have you already partnered up with some of the WU people on your staff and put them out in front of the school? Do you do any of that?
I try to be out in front of the school twice a week, and then I do turn that over to others to welcome students in the morning. Partly because of my relator strength, I think, but also just by nature of 2 campuses, it's very difficult to be out in front because there's lots of behind the scenes needs that I tend to need to take care of.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, next, please. Eric, the learner.
Hi, Eric Wozniak. Learner. I've been in education for, I think this is my 31st year, starting as a classroom teacher. I think learner is pretty apropos. I've got 4 degrees in education, ending with a PhD in for the advancement of leadership and learning and service. I taught mostly 25 years at a private boarding school that had a very traditional foundation to it, not classical education, but aligned in kind of a traditional way of teaching. At that school, St. John's Northwestern Academies. During that time at that school, I was everything from a science and math teacher to computer programming teacher to technology director to academic dean and ultimately headmaster at the end there. Christina Borax came to our school when this place was, when LCCA was just starting. The thought of it was just starting, looking for partnerships. That's how I got to know her. And when the opportunity arose for helping out the mission of this school, I felt that a lot of my various skills could possibly be useful. I like being useful. I like putting all of the stuff that I know into effect. And I think that is one of the most rewarding things of this job so far. I've said this before, so I'm sorry for those of you who have heard before, but I feel like everything I've learned over these past 30 plus years is being put into, I can put that into action in supporting the school in any way I possibly can. So, fun fact for me, I also, as a learner and intellectual as number two, I can't stop learning stuff. I spent 7 years working my way through college at the beginning, working at Ace Hardware, so I know a lot of stuff about hardware and how to do stuff around the house. Because of that, I was also a police officer for about 1.5 years in the city of Milwaukee, so I took a little conversion there. I'm also a dog rescuer. We just got a new husky. We've only had her for a week. This is our 4th husky. Her name is Rosie, and she's awesome. Let's see. What do I hope to get out of this? I'd like us to leave here with a sense of a strong sense of a shared vision that we can all work toward and support. I would like to, I think, like the others have said, have some clarity shared clarity in what our mission is and some tangible objectives that we can all work together, support each other toward, and use our strengths in concert to reach those goals.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Lori, please.
Okay, I'm Lori. I'm up. I feel like I'm in an Al-Anon meeting. The belief is my strength.
Get a coin after this one.
Right, he's recovering.
So I feel like my number one, what are we calling them? Strength.
Yep, your belief.
It works pretty well with where I am now as the controller of LCCA. So I am with the compliance pieces and managing all the financials and overseeing compliance and everything from the insurance, and just having a strong belief in working with in an ethical environment is very important to me, and so that's how that pairs very well with what I'm doing. My background is, I have a very diverse background, so when I started working, I ultimately ran our family's construction business. So I did 20 years of construction management, and I did all the bookkeeping and the job costing, and worked with collaborating between the financial office and like the sales people and the construction workers. And with that being said, that's how I worked my way through college. I was a construction worker. So I would go and work on the jobs, and that's how I paid for my schooling. And then I ended up going back to school, and I got my master's of business administration all during this time. Married, have 3 children, and we had the kids in school, and at the time we couldn't afford to put them in a public school, in a private school, and I graduated from Brookfield Academy, which is classical education, and my mom was a teacher there, and so she taught 4th and 5th grade, and so we kind of lived and breathed and grew up with classical education and the importance of the dynamics and qualities of the education. And so this wasn't working well with my young kids, and so it got to a point where I reached out to my alma mater, and I'm like, is there an opportunity where I could maybe get a job? I'll do anything to get the kids to Brookfield Academy. And so an opportunity came up as the assistant finance director there, and it worked well with all my work experience. And
So I was able to send the kids there, and I worked at Brookfield Academy for like 11 years, I believe it was. And then I made some changes, and then I have landed here, and it just seems to work well. So a fun fact is that when you look at when you go to the Epcot Center, and there's the big ball, and it has all the little pyramid pieces. So there's little rods that connect all of those. So, well, one summer, my dad, he worked for a steel industry company in Milwaukee. And so I threaded the rods that connect all those together.
That's great. And it's
So
still
now
standing.
It's still standing.
So like
Still there.
30.
It was a group effort. There were employees. I wasn't the only one threading rods around. And then what I am looking for the strategic planning, I'm very happy that we are going through this exercise and we're doing this. When the opportunity came up with the grant, I was thrilled because I just appreciate and the places where I've worked, and like my church has gone through this process, and so I can appreciate the whole just coming together with the board, with the different levels of administration, getting the parent input. I just think it's instrumental, and it's very important for the future of the school, and especially where we're at right now. And so it would be nice to just to learn from everybody and get everybody to come together to learn and see what we can all do for the future of the school.
Awesome. Randy, last but not least, go ahead.
Yeah, so Randy Godsell, it ended up here because of a couple of reasons. One, my kids were in a public school, the intention was to keep them there. It was a terrible experience, the way they were taught. Ended up, I needed to move them, ended up sending them over to the academy, which you've heard about a couple of times. And it was a great experience for my kids, for both of them. And my older one did end up going to Hillsdale as well. And after he graduated, my wife ended up getting a job at Hillsdale in marketing. And I guess the reason I wanted to do this is because I think we're really lucky to find Brookfield Academy. And it was sort of by accident. I didn't really know what classical education was. And there's a lot of kids out there that would benefit from that education that either have too big of a family or family doesn't have the resources. And this is an opportunity for them to take advantage of that. So I'm a CPA by training. Didn't last too long, and I ended up in finance, wealth management primarily for most of my career. My fun fact, which is related to that, is the reason I'm a CPA. It's not because I ever had any interest in being a CPA, but I wanted to be an FBI agent. And at the time, there was a bunch of savings and loans going down, and they let you shortcut the experience process if you were a CPA. So you could go direct. So I got my master's in accounting, and then I went through the whole FBI process, and they actually, I still remember this day distinctly, they called me and said, we're going to need you to go to Quantico. I was on a job site doing accounting, and we're going to call you any day, and you're going to need to leave immediately. So I finally, after 18 months, achieved my goal, and they called me back 2 days later and said, can't hire you. Can't tell you why.
Can't tell you why?
No, I could have done the Freedom of Information Act, which I didn't do. So I to this day, I don't know why, but it worked out pretty well.
That's
So,
great.
and then as far as today, I think, I guess, two things. One, we get to talk to each other, as a board a lot, and at least in my current role, we get to hear parent perspectives a lot, but don't get to hear a lot about work with the school administration a lot. So definitely looking forward to hearing their perspective.
have a great school that has all the pieces in place to be great. Just like have the steps in place to take it to that next level of greatness is what I hope to get out of it.
Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate that. It's great to just get to know you a little bit, go around the room and do that. And even more valuable as we went through it, it doesn't sound like, again, you all get together all that often necessarily, other than for a board meeting here or there, or an event here or there. So I appreciate that too. And hopefully it just helps to bring it together. Culture is huge. Obviously, you know that. That's why people send their children to the schools, for this unique culture. And that's again what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be talking about it's going to be the culture of this process, of this plan, building in with all of the gifts and unique strengths that you bring to the table. So we'll keep focus on that. Well, every 60 minutes we'll take 5 minutes to stretch. And I know 5 minutes is going to turn into 7, so try to make it 6. That would be great. But right now, as we transition, I think probably be a good time just to take a stretch break, grab some more coffee, get rid of some coffee. Then we're going to come back and we're going to go into challenges and opportunities. So we had sent out an email asking every one of you to, again, reply back to us with 2 to 3 top challenges, 2 to 3 top opportunities. We don't get into we're a group that's not going to get into the minutia. What's the exact difference between a challenge and opportunity? All these different things, and Dan will lead some of this. It's again, what we're going to make out of it. We can spend the rest of the day debating what's a mission, what's a vision, all these people. And again, we've tried to just simplify that and put that in there. The book that you have, we're going to reference that at different points in time. That's where the process that you're going to see is in there. Some of the resources that we're going to go into, all those different things. So, all right, let's take a little break. Like I said, 5 minutes. I know it's going to be 7, so make it 6.